What's that? I'm a little hippie. Today, we're going to be talking about my first 5-star read this year that wasn't something that I've previously read. Crazy. This is burning me. So, today, we're going to be talking about Stephen King's Rose Matter. The book was so good. Unfortunately, I do not own it physically. Hopefully, by the end of the month, I will have ordered it. And so it can be, the physical book can be in my wrap up. But yes, of course, it's a Stephen King book. Like, of course. Like, did you expect anything else? I love Stephen King. But yeah, Rose Matter. It's basically the story of a woman, Rose Daniels, who is trying to escape her abusive husband, her sadistic, abusive husband. And the book starts out very with a very vivid, very visceral description of a miscarriage. It was crazy. I tell you, if Stephen King can do nothing else, that man can write a book. Okay? One of the things that people kind of or that women kind of get on Stephen King about is that he's not really good at writing like complex female characters, FMCs if you will, female main characters, which I don't I agree with that to a point. Um I thought the story was really good. I thought Matter was really good. I also think that Stephen King probably should leave the fantasy alone. Uh, I'm just saying he should probably leave fantasy to those who like to write fantasy, who are to the Brandon Sandersons, to the Sarah J. Masses of this world, because it's not for him. Like I never enjoy it when Stephen King does fantasy for some reason. It always just I don't know. It feels very meandering when he does fantasy. And that this book did have some elements of fantasy, some elements of like Greek mythology and just mythology in general. Um but back to his the way he writes female characters, I think he does have issues writing compelling and complex female characters just because a lot of it comes from not having that experience of being a female. Um, and there's only so much you can do to relate to the experience of being a female when you're not a female. And I think he did very well with writing the ladies in Rose Matter. But what I noticed after just recently finishing Dolores Claiborne is that he writes his most compelling female characters under like this archetype of like abused woman, battered woman. That's like the only way he knows how to write a strong female character, and that's not the only womanly experience there is to explore. And so I do agree with some people in saying that Stephen King is a little bit he falls a little bit flat when writing trying to write female characters because it seems he can only do it one way. Um which is not bad if you're good at it. If the shoe fits, wear it kind of thing. But nevertheless, I thought Rose Matter was really good. Again, it's really this story about this woman trying to become, it's really the story of becoming, stepping out of that abusive cycle and just becoming, Rose becoming one of these, one of the reoccurring, like, um, do I want to call it themes? I guess I'll call it a theme. One of the reoccurring themes is this thing of Rosie real. So Rose becoming, in a sense, who she really is outside of that situation and getting away from her husband and getting on her own 2 feet and really pulling herself up by the bootstraps, trying to fall in love again. I mean, this story, I thought it was really good. Stephen King, in retrospect, has said that he thought that this story was trying too hard. I think it was really good. And I think so. Maybe if he's talking about that fantasy element, maybe he was trying a little too hard. But I think the story in its simplicity about this woman getting out of this abusive situation and trying to pull herself up by her bootstraps and build up this life separate and apart from those terrible experiences, I thought it was a really strong story because it's something that a lot of people and a lot of women can relate to. And I think he did so well writing that as a man and as an author who apparently has issues in writing complex, interesting, strong female characters. And he did that. And he didn't just do that with the FMC Rose, he did it with the different women that we meet and come across and interact with in the story. And it made it so rich for me. Um, because I could imagine that it was stepping out of this box for Stephen King and like doing something that was foreign to him. And he did it so well. Again, I could have done without the fantasy, the fantastical elements in this story. If it were just a story about a woman, or if it was just a story about this woman getting away from her husband, I would have loved it because I think he did it so well. Um, but yeah, that's basically what it's about, and her trying to figure out how to get away from him, how to stay away from him. And he's a police officer, so of course he's going to the ends of the earth to find her. And one of the reoccurring things that's brought up in this book is the fact that she took his bank card. Like she's like, not only did she run away, but she took my bank card. And not only did she take my bank card, but she went into the account and took some money off my bank card. And like her husband just keeps bringing this up. Every time he gets a chance, it's like, she took my bank card. Can you believe she took my bank card? It, yeah. I just, it made me laugh. Like, I don't know if maybe I just have this dark sense of humor, but I always find myself laughing at Stephen King's books. Like, he is just so funny and fun to read. Like I love his writing style. And I've said it so many times, but it's true. I really love Stephen King's writing style. Um, but yeah, the book was very simple, very easy to follow. Sometimes his writing can be a little difficult to follow, but that was not the case with Rose Matter. Um, although he did lose me with the mythology part of it. Um, but I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I find myself feeling like when I read books that I really, really enjoy, it's so hard for me to find the words to describe them accurately and to do how the book made me feel justice. It's so difficult because, like, it's almost like you don't even have the words in your vocabulary to describe how this book made you feel. But the book inspired me. It was very inspiring because, again, I think he did such a good job of writing Rose, like where she was so unsure, she was so timid and just really trying to put feelers out into the world as to like, how to move on from that situation and how to allow herself to experience new things and to rediscover herself. And I think he just knocked that out of the park. Reading this book just helped solidify my love for Stephen King as a writer, and I think it helped me to understand Stephen King as a writer more, and understanding that sometimes it is very hard to step outside of your box and to do something which you've never done, and to do something that's obviously uncomfortable for you, which is to write about people or groups of people that you have no real connection to. And I think he just knocked that out of the park. He did such a stellar job with that. I had a blast. I didn't want to put it down. I just wanted to keep reading it. I thought I was falling into a reading slump, and then I was like, okay, let me start. Because anytime I feel like I'm falling into a reading slump, I want to read Stephen King. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to reread something I've already read by Stephen King, so I decided to try Rose Matter, and I'm so happy that I did. That is going to bring us to the end of today's video. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good evening, and I hope you read a book that is as good as Rose Matter was to me. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye.